how's it going guys? Welcome back to the channel. Crimsonpanda here with another episode of Mercenary Meta. So we are going to be taking a look at some of the sleeper builds that might be popping up in the meta at the moment. Obviously we're going to see a lot of Trigor and a lot of Frost in this video as well. But I just wanted to cover what information HS replays have managed to collect with the current meta. And while there's no new patches coming out, this is going to be what it is for a while, I would have thought, until some people manage to find some sort of sleeper build that counters absolutely everything, which is going to be almost impossible. But let's head over and check out the meta so far. So what I want to do in today's meta video is I want to filter it by range again. So we're going to be going from top 10, top 50 all the way to top 10. And we're going to be looking at the minimal game size, just in case there's a couple of sleeper builds out there which only have about 100 game sample size, which people might want to try out with a really high win rate. So we're going to be filtering it by win rate, because obviously everybody wants to play the best deck or the best win rate deck that there is at the moment. So I am going to go into the most popular builds at the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned for that to see what everybody is playing, so that you can build your own to counter it if there isn't enough builds on this video. I will try to go slowly over some of the characters so that you can see what equipments they're using as well. And yeah, let's just head straight into it. So minimum game size 100, MMR range top 50. So this is at 6,300 plus. So it's looking here at the moment, the biggest win rate is a Galvagar Kavagas Trigor build. So obviously Trigor is going to be everywhere. So why isn't it? It's always going to have the biggest win rate, isn't it, at the moment? So this one is Kavagas with the Vines, Trigor with Razor Claw, and Galvagar with Fury of the Frostwolf. So obviously Galvagar and Kavagas are buffing the opening lineup. So the idea behind this one is obviously to get your Trigor at as high attack as possible, so that when he's popping off into something, he is going to do a lot of damage. So that's why Galvagar, this was like one of the first Trigor builds as soon as the patch came out. And it's still doing very well by the looks of it. And the bench line is a Vol'jin, Sylvanas, and Thrall. So obviously Thrall there to counter other Sylvanas and Sinestras if there's dragon builds. Sylvanas there because the amount of tokens you get up with Kavagas is ridiculous, and she just gets huge. And Vol'jin's there to just speed up that process, to be able to get a 1 speed shot off with Sylvanas once she's got 1 buff off from her abilities. Okay, just below that, it's looking like we have a very similar build. So we have a Kavagas Trigor again with Valera. Obviously, this is the use Valera in order to speed up the process and to be able to take advantage of that Trigor's turn 2 with a 0 speed Lash, a 0 speed Razor Claw, and also Valera is attacking Mercenaries. So she's going to attack into something, proccing the Trigor as well, which is obviously what you want to be doing. So again, we've got Wild Vines, Razor Claw, Unnatural Smoke, and then the bench line we're using Vol'jin, Sylvanas, and then Tyrion. So the only difference here is Tyrion. Obviously Tyrion is there so that you can put their Sylvanas down to 1 health as soon as he comes off the bench. So if you can kill Sylvanas on the same turn as putting it to 1, obviously she's not going to do hardly anything to your board, and he's running the Tyrion shield to prevent him dying straight away from any of their mercenaries, so that you can actually get that combo off. It's really fun, really good to do that combo, because it just denies their whole bench entirely, because Vol'jin's there for speed, Sylvanas is there to just kill everything, maybe even force a tie. So having a Tyrion on that back line to be able to prevent that is really fun, that I've seen quite a lot of recently. Okay, and then once again below, same opener, same equipments, but this time we're using Localar on the bench instead of the Tyrion. So Localar obviously there because he's a red unit doing a lot of damage, kind of the same reason why Thrall's in the top build, but people's changing it up. Obviously nobody wants to play the same build every single day, so that's where they're going with that. And then we have Frost coming back, obviously, or not coming back, just lingering. So 66% win rate. We have Localar with Frigid Winds, Jaina with Ice Block, Varden with Chilling Amulet, and then we've got Cookie Appetizers, Sinestra Brooch, and Yulong Serpent Pendant. So very weird to see that that's going to be using the nature. So obviously you're using a really big cookie snipe with this Serpent Pendant. So I imagine once all your Frost is off, you're just going to bring out these 3 dragons, or these 2 dragons and Cookie all at the same time, hopefully, and then you can just get a Serpent, a Cookie, and yeah, Sinestra, just start getting that AoE ready as well. Very small game size as well, I might note. Obviously, these could be sleeper builds. They might be good at the minute, but they're not going to be good all the time. So looking like here with a 1400 sample size, we have Kazagos, Trigor, Valera. Once again, same equipments. And then we're running Vol'jin, Sylvanas, and then Cookie is seeming quite popular in that back line. Maybe not as good win rate as the other ones, like up here with the Thralls and the Tyrians, but very solid win rate. Keeping your opener alive, because that's the ones you want to try and spam out as many golems as you can. And then with a really big sample size, this is a really popular build that people have decided to play by the looks of it. Okay, so we'll leave that at that for the top 10. The top 50, sorry. Let's head over to top 20 to see if anything has changed. So once again, the win rate will dip as you progress higher up the MMR. So you've got 8,600 here. We have the Tyrion build taking the top this time. So once again, all of these same equipments and with the Tyrion shield to try and kill off their Sylvanas without taking too much retaliation. And then we're seeing the Frost Nature one just behind that. Then the very popular Cookie one with Sylvanas. The only thing that changes here, I believe, is nothing. It's just a smaller sample size in those, obviously, higher MMRs. And then next we have a Nefarian. Okay, this is a little bit of a different build, so I'll go into this one a little bit. So we've got Nefarian, Trigor, and Valera. So we're running the Dragonflight to start a game, give dragons extra attack, backlash, and unnatural smoke. And then the bench line is probably my favorite bench ever, and this is Arcane. So we're using Tyrande with Arcane Slavos deals 4 more damage. We've got the Band of Bursting Novas, so each time a dragon dies, which is fantastic with Nefarian, summoning those dragons once he attacks, and proccing Trigor. This is going to gain quite a lot of arcane damage once this comes down, which helps Tyrande just clear up the board. And Cookie is there obviously to just keep everything alive, a little bit more healthy, and maybe getting a cheeky little snipe if you can. And then another interesting build just below that, a Frost Tyrion is popping up. So we have a Localar with Frigid Winds, Tyrion Ashbringer, and Varden with Chilling Amulet. And then the bench, we're going back into an Illidan bench. So this is looking like a Tyrion buffing your Illidan for the late game to try and kill off some of those corner blues, which was very good, very popular a little while ago. And then obviously Karen Diablo with the Reincarnation and the Black Soulstone. And this is obviously using Wardloads of Avanoffs. So Outcast also attacks the left enemy twice. So this really sort of, if your opponents that you notice in are positioning quite bad in the late game because they just want to get some stuff out and win, then Illidan is there to punish them, especially if Longjin and Cookie, like a double blue in their bench line, is going to be really strong against those. Very small sample sizes at this MMR. Obviously, these are going to be some sleeper builds, so hopefully they're going to clear up some of this Trigor mess until we get some new mercenaries or some new updates. Okay, and then we've got the Frost Belinda next. So Varden, Jaina, Belinda. So we're running Chilling Amulet, Ice Block Talisman, and Water Elemental. Obviously, the freeze is very, very popular still. Very, very good. And then we've got Localar, obviously, with the Frost start. Bringing him out in the late game is going to be sick. And Cookie there for the health. And Sinestra Mana Brooch, obviously just a solid green in a standard build, I guess. Let's scroll down here. I can see a 2,000 game sample size. So this is absolutely huge. Win rate, really good as well. So this is probably the most popular build currently. So we've got Kazagos with Wildvine, Trigor with Razor Claw, Diablo with Black Soulstone. Very solid opener. And then we have Karen, Vol'jin, and Sylvanas on the bench. So Karen Reincarnation, Vol'jin Ring of Haste, and Sylvanas Death Volley. So obviously this is to just speed up. You bring Karen out to speed up your Diablo because this is going to get a lot of health with the golems. And obviously be able to slow down their stuff as well, especially their Trigor if you can't kill it off on turn 1. And then the Vol'jin Sylvanas, self-explanatory, shadow backline to be able to just pop off with the Death Volley and hopefully kill everything. One thing to note as well, Karen's Reincarnation is a solid equipment for those mirror matches, especially if Sylvanas is going off with Death Volley and they can't kill Karen before that. this is going to sometimes win you the game just with the reincarnation. So please note that. Okay, let's move on to top 10. This is where everybody wants to be. So this is 10,000 rating plus. And we're still going to keep it in the minimum sample size. Obviously, the sleeper builds are very important. So the Frost Tyrion at top 10 is being the most best performed. So 71% win rate is huge. 71%. The Illidan, obviously, people must be using those blues in the back line. The Frost Tyrion is obviously a solid start. Being able to prevent that Trigor on turn 2 as well. Obviously, it is a little bit of RNG with the Trigor, with the local art and the Vardun, where they just shoot randomly. You can obviously use the middle ability for local art to try and punish their Trigor by just hitting it with just one single shot and actually not getting like random hailstorms going everywhere. And then obviously Karen Diablo, still a solid duo, and your Illidan in the bench. Nothing's changed here with the equipments. If you want to check the equipments again, it's Frigid Winds, Ashbringer, Chilling Amulet, Black Soulstone, Reincarnation, and Wardlays of Azzinoth. And then just below that, big sample size, we have the Trigor Valera Kazagus Shadow Cookie bench. Already covered that one, so that's doing pretty good in the top 10 range as well. Same again with the Vardun Jaina Belinda. Is there any other sleeper builds that we can see? So we have a King Mutla Millhouse build here. Excuse me. So not the best win rate, but still above that 50%. So you are going to climb with this comp. Only 150 games, so it looks like we're using Trigor, obviously. King Mutla's big brother to try and pop that Trigor, have the taunt there, really nice. Millhouse Arcane in the early game. Don't know how that's going to work out, not played this, but definitely very interesting. They're going to obviously kill off one of these before this, which allows you to bring Yulong out in order to get a really quick 4-speed Millhouse pop, I guess, which would be kind of cool. I imagine Karen's in there for a little bit of the reincarnation Sylvanas counters, and Tyrande obviously in there because of the the arcane buff. So we have Big Brother with Mutla, Razor Claw, Arcane Powder, Reincarnation, Band of Bursting Novas, and Recurve for those Slavo. Okay, another big one here. So this one, look, only a tiny little bit less win rate, bigger sample size, and it is obviously the Diablo Shadow one, which is really, really popular and strong. Okay, let's check out any other sleepers. I'm going to filter this in the top 10 to the least played one and see if anything stands out. So obviously this one is really strong. We want some 69% win rates. See if we can try and filter out one of them. There isn't any. Okay, so it looks like the sleeper deck that might be coming into the game is this one here. So if you want to play anything that's countering stuff by the looks of it, by replays, then Frost Tyrion with the Illidan bench is looking like the popular one. Okay, now let's check out all players, see if there's any absolute bangers sleepers. So we've got the King Mutla Nufarian with the Nature bench, one of my favorite builds. I think I've got a video covering this. I may not have Millhouse, but I definitely have Arcane on the bench with this opener. So we've got Nefarian Trigor Mutla with spare parts, so this is actually restoring health now with dragons. We have Trigor's Raider Claw and Mutla's brother. We have Banner Burst and Novas, Tyrande's Arcane Slavo damage, and Arcane Powder with Millhouse. So that's a very strong build. Obviously, only 50% win rate, but maybe that's because there hasn't been enough games played with that one. I definitely like it. I think it's quite solid. Okay, somebody's trying a very, very, very different build here, and it is not doing well. So this one is a stay away from build. So Tyrion, Uther, and Leroy. So a lot of punching mercs. So we've got Ashbringer, and we've got Death Rattle, give your characters Divine Shield. Okay, so maybe you're trying to kill him off. And then Leroy with Ninja Looting to gain attack when enemies die. This is very interesting build. Don't know really how this one would play out. Obviously not well with the win rate. And then Cookie, Blink Fox, and Vandar. So obviously Cookie appetizers, Mana Rune, Blink Fox reset. All your characters' abilities are additional 3 speed faster. Okay, guess you kind of need that. It's quite a heavy, slow comp. And then the Immortal Object, which is passive 7 health and taunt. So maybe this is like a taunt thing. Maybe you're trying to taunt up stuff with Uther. Vandar comes down and maybe does something. I don't know. Very weird build. To be showcased on here as well is very, very weird. And we got Frost Belinda, but with running Gruul in the bench. So I imagine this was a very old build, trying to kill off those dragon decks, which showed up for a little while. Another different one here. So 34% win rate, not great. Velen, Tregor, Cornelius. Death Rattle, restore your health, restore 40 health to all your characters. So I guess they're going to try and keep Tregor alive as possible. Try and literally win the game with Tregor and then get your just solid solo merc. So this is like the most common. Don't really know how to synergize, but a good mercenaries on their own. So local obviously, Cookie obviously, and Sinestra. But stay away from that one as well. What else have we got here? We've got Lich King trying to show up with a Valera build, trying to slow down those Tregors with the Frostmourne. Meh, 40% win rate, not really being very promising. So I guess there's no sleepers other than those other ones. This one's looking a bit okay. 51% win rate, above the 50. So we got King Mookla, Rogers, and Guff. So obviously this is going to take out their Tregor very quick. Big Bananas, this is going for a really, really heavy hitting into Tregor build. And then Valera on the bench to come in with some speed after, especially if Mookla's still alive, being able to taunt up to get the speed and then maybe pop off with like a Guff or a Rogers being quick. We could see that. Tyrion with Ashbringer and Hammer of Dawn, Crusade Blow restores health to your other characters as well. So trying to get a cheeky little death rattle off with Courier Roam. That is interesting. Instead of using a Cookie Snipe, trying to get a cheeky little heal, which is I think 40 health to your other characters, which could actually be really, really interesting. I might want to try that one out. Not very good win rate, but it's different. People want to see different. Okay, so that is looking like it is about it for the meta. Let's check out the highest game samples that we've got across all players. So the most played game at 3,600 here, which is probably the most popular one. Really good win rate is the Kazagus Tregor Diablo with the Shadow Karen bench. So if there's any build you want to be playing because everybody else is playing it, then this is the one. So Wild Vine, Razor Claw, Diablo's Soulstone, Reincarnation, Ring of Haste, and Death Volley. Very common build, very popular with the Tregor meta at the moment. I hope you guys liked this video. Please subscribe for more, and I'll catch you in the next one.